man, we're gonna talk some, what's going on right now, what's happening, right? March Madness is what's happening, right? So get those brackets right. You better get your brackets. Get your brackets done before the games get kicked off. I know I'm already on ESPN, CBS, one of the local TV stations here in Wilmington, doing theirs. We got one through my job in the office, an office bracket going. I'm trying to, I'm getting it covered all the way around. Getting it covered all the way around, y'all. But yeah, y'all see me with my stripes on. Let me tell you something. That lacrosse is something, but I'll get into that a little bit. But hey, I might need to change that. But you see that QR code right there if you're on YouTube, right? That I'm pointing at. Be sure you hover over that. If there's still a little time to get signed up for the camp. I extended it, but we got some good numbers, and I'm gonna have to shut it down because I don't want kids to miss out getting their camp shirt. But yeah, we're ready. We're getting this thing set up for the March 29th camp, and I'm considering going. Like I had shared on one of my other podcasts, on doing a girls flag football camp later this summer. Now this camp, I wanted high school kids there, but it's mainly elementary and middle school, which is cool with me. That's good because I want to get them while they're young. But I realize I may have to just do me a camp strictly just for high school kids, and I'll probably do that in the future as well. But I have a lot of things in the works that I'm going to do and bring home to Florida, do it here, North Carolina, see how far I can get this thing going and get back on doing the College Bound Conference. But we're strictly talking about not just sports, but students and how to get your education paid for, how to get accepted to colleges, right? How you need to write your admissions letters and essays for scholarships. I've sat on scholarship committees, helping to determine who we're going to give scholarships to. So I've had that experience. But yeah, there's some things in the works, but I'm starting, with my Love the Game 24/7 football camp with mainly these elementary and middle school kids. We got a good number of kids. People are still signing up, so you have time. If you go to lovethegame247.com, I'm not going to share what my social media platforms are because if I want you to go to my website, lovethegame247.com, and you can get fully connected with Coach Smith, your favorite coach, right, via my website, because it's all about loving the game, right? Just like we love this March Madness that's about to happen. It's about to get kicked off, okay? And, it's a funny thing that we're talking about that, you have West Virginia governor or mayor, whoever it is, that's wanting to sue the NCAA. And he had, I don't know if you all saw his sign at his press conference. And I just happened to see it because I was watching Pat McAfee. I love plugging in with watching his show, Ryan Clark and the Pivot with the boys. I listen to First Take Facility with Acho and I think James Jones and those guys. They're good. Whenever I get a chance, I plug into that. Of course, Shannon and Ocho. And I'll check out some other ones. But yeah, as I was watching Pat McAfee, I saw with a mayor, like I said, a governor, had his NCAA on his mantle during the press conference. It said National Corrupt Athletic Association. Y'all hear me? He had National Corrupt Athletic Association. Now, if you go back and listen to it, maybe you can Google it or search for it on YouTube. And I'm talking about West Virginia, right? And Pat McAfee is a graduate of WVU, West Virginia University, where he played He was a kicker, but he grew up playing soccer and football, punting and kicking, and so he played. He played the governor, or like I said, mayor. I can't remember which one. His press conference, and it's no different than what happened to Florida State football team last year not getting into the playoffs when they, based off their record. Okay, because based off Florida State's record, they should have been in the playoffs, no matter what the result would have been with Florida State. Now, of course, Travis, or whatever the young man's name is that played quarterback at Florida State last year, I know he sustained that injury, and he was a huge part of, we all know, of Florida State's success. And I hated to see that young man in his college career without being able to play with his teammates. That was tough. And we all know it's about the money. What teams are going to put? That's the sad part about all of this stuff, right? With this March Madness. And I also watched. I'm trying to think. I saw a podcast. I can't think of the gentleman's name, but he had the Texas State women's basketball coach on her show because they got snubbed too. When you see how she has taken that program from nothing, to recruiting some very talented young ladies and, good coaches, good program at Texas State, that she has turned that program around and made it. I think they went from like some wins that were, you knew nothing about them until they won like 27 games this year. And she, she talked about it. Of course, she felt some type of way, but she hey, she understands. But when you see the huge improvement that she made at TSU, Texas State University, in that program, and how, strong she's gotten that program to be. And that's why I tell you guys, you young athletes, right? You got to get with your parents, and definitely your parents. You need to be plugging in. If you got an athlete in your house, a young athlete in your house, you need to get plugged in so you can learn about some things. Okay, because if I had a daughter growing up playing basketball, Texas State would be somebody I would consider. And of course, my South Florida Bulls, where I used to work, USF, they won their conference championship, and they, of course, Coach Hernandez has been there for years. He was there when I was working there, so he's been at University of South Florida for years, the Bulls, and has always had really good teams. And I know he has pretty much that team is international. Girls from Africa, Spain, Italy, you name it. He got some. He's built a powerhouse over there, and I, can't help but see them improving as well. But hey, this women's basketball, man, women's sports, that's why I'm looking at doing a flag football. I'm going to be refereeing some of that. I think this weekend we got some flag football and 7-on-7 games that they need refs. So along with me doing the lacrosse. So I'm trying to just make sure I stay plugged in, stay involved, so I can help you young athletes as much as possible. But like I said, we'll get more than that. But man, this March Madness, like I said, this governor or mayor at West Virginia, Pat McAfee's alma mater, where he played, where like I said, that he's upset that they got snubbed, because when you look at their record in comparison to Carolina, the quadrants and things that they look at, the analytics, like if you had so many wins, against like ranked teams, high ranked teams, and how they got it broken up between the top 25 and then the top like 26 through 50, and then the top 51 through 75, and whether you played a weak schedule at home against somebody, or you play somebody strong in your home field, home court. And then also if you played away, a strong or weak team home, away as well. They have a lot of things that they're looking at. And then when you look at West Virginia compared to North Carolina shouldn't have been in over West Virginia, and maybe some other schools, but he was just talking about his particular program at West Virginia. And And that's why he had on his podium during his press conference, the NCAA, he had National Corrupt Athletic Association, because we always know the NCAA is always behind. Now, whether that's on purpose or whether that's a strategic thing, or I mean, for me, it's hard for me to believe they're behind just because they're behind, because nobody is not aware of or understanding that's definitely not the case. I know they're very well aware. So, like I said, the madness is, that's why I said this March Madness is much more chaotic today, right, than it's ever been, because of the money, guys, right? Follow the money. More of these games are on TV than they've ever been compared to when we grew up, when my generation was growing up. I mean, man, you had to pay attention when a game came on, right? When you saw something reported about what games were going to be on, because you couldn't catch too many on TV. And then once cable came out, of course that was costing, money, and everybody wasn't able. But they always bet on, even when people are doing things, rigging things. There's a term that we use in the Black community that I can't say, but for those of you who look like me, you know what I'm talking about when I say there's some things that we can rig up sometimes, and we use a specific term. But when we discuss that amongst our people, our folks, but they make money even on things like that, when people rig up things and watch these games, because you're gonna do what you got to do to see to see Michael Jordan play, to see Dr. J back in the day, Bird. It didn't matter, man. If you can figure out a way to get, when you didn't have cable, or you didn't have a certain service that will allow you to, because you didn't have certain channels, or if you had a homeboy, family that had they had it like that. You would do what you can, or when the word came out, somebody, hey man, so and so, this game is on this week, because it wasn't as prominent, or as prevalent, I should say, or prominent as it is today. Now, granted, money has always been being made in sports, right? In the business of sports. Let's not fool ourselves, but man, it's more and more. Quincy Wilson. I got a video up with Quincy Wilson running track, so I got to pause it so I don't miss it. Watching him and his teammates in this probably indoor championships or something. But yeah, guys, it's just, this March Madness is definitely chaotic, just like the playoffs are. It's no surprise to me that they extended the football playoffs. I can, when I was in college, Division II, it was the top 16 teams that went to the playoffs. I believe it's still the same. I wouldn't be surprised if the FBS, Division I FBS, goes to that same platform eventually and add 4 more teams, and and they do that sooner than later, because of money, and because of some people feeling like they're being snubbed, and just like the coach with the women's from Texas State University winning 27 games or whatever it is, and you don't make the NCAA tournament, there's something up with that sometimes. I believe it is. There's bias, because if a certain team won't, in certain regions will not put, butts in the seat or tickets to be sold as much as they would with certain other teams that are closely, have a schedule or schedule results, season results that are similar. The team with the um, more prowess or name will probably get chosen, right? And it is what it is, right? And so, but now it's more chaotic now, because you have some teams who back in the day you probably wouldn't even see having an opportunity to get to be in March Madness, just because where most of the talent went, and the skill and the development level that I've been talking about recently is much more prevalent today than it's been in the past. You got a lot more talented kids, and they're not just coming out of poor communities of Black and brown people. There are more Black and brown middle class people, um, and even our white counterparts. You know, these kids of today, they all hang together. You know, they're probably a little more colorblind than our generation, and more open to hanging with each other and doing things. And so, you know, when you spend a lot of time with, you know, around other talented people, that tends to, you know, rub off, right? You may not be that good of an athlete, but because you hang around some good athletes that you're tight with, good friends, they're going to help build your confidence. You're going to learn and pick up on some things that you might not have otherwise tried because you weren't around as skilled athletes. Um, um, like during my generation, you know, a lot of us did hang together, but you know, these kids, man, nowadays, there are a lot more people that are training kids, giving attention to young people and helping them hone their skills, you know, like myself. So um, definitely these kids today are, we talk about it, you know, me and some of my generation guys that we do another podcast that I'll be sharing. We hope to get on here and share and do it live. And some of my liquid, my brother and several other guys, and even one we've adopted in, a brother we've adopted in from over in Sarasota. Um, so we'll eventually get this thing live on Facebook together as a group, um, you know, or we'll record some things and put it out there on Facebook eventually. We're just trying to hone our skills. However, but like I said, things are this March Madness is much more chaotic today because of the skill level and competition level, man, is has spread it, right? And definitely, I used to always feel like in baseball and basketball, and even in track and field, you know, I've seen when I was in college, I've seen some junior college track and field teams that would shatter a Division 1 track and field team because of the talent level. Was when you're talking track, when you talk certain sports like football, it wasn't that easy because you got more people. You got to um, that need to be able to have that skill in their position and also have that knowledge of where they need to be, right? Um, so when you get teams, usually your teams that had all the talent were the big name teams, right? But nowadays, because of all the skill training, you know, that these young boys and girls are getting today at an early age, a lot of them, or they're hanging around, like I said, they're hanging around each other more, and you know, some things rub off, you know, because you're hanging with, um, you know, some very talented young ladies or young men that you all are friends and you're very skilled and talented. Um, so somebody may be getting some individual training and coaching and then taking it back to their friends who may not be able to afford it. But because what they've learned, they're taking it back and hanging out with their boys or their homegirls and, you know, playing ball together. So everybody picks up on some things. You know? So there's a lot of different reasons. But today, these kids are a lot more skillful and talented at a much earlier and younger age because of our generation having the blessing of being able to make it, because our generation before us was just really getting it started. Our parents didn't really have that opportunity, but as opportunities, you know, as time has passed, more and more opportunities availed itself, and we took it and ran with it, right? And when we had kids, you know, our mindset, because of what we missed out on with helping ourselves get developed, you know, a little bit later in life, but we got developed. But we were able to take what we experienced, our generation, and help teach our kids at a much earlier and younger age on how to, you know, um, prepare themselves in a sport. And some of us who love the game and coach the game and just have a passion for it, and we have kids that we see and realize that they may have a skill. It may not be in the same sport that we play, but in some sport, we're going to have some children that are going to be very skilled. And that's why I think, like when you're talking baseball, basketball, you know, volleyball, and those sports, sometimes you would get a lower level team because you don't have that many players. And you'll get some kids who got missed over because maybe they didn't get help from coach. Their coaches, like a lot of people don't realize that happens a lot more than you realize or than you think. And so a lot of talented kids got overlooked and passed over. And they end up at some school because they had a love and passion for the game and they just didn't want to give up not being able to play. And somebody, you know, gave them a shot at some smaller school And you can get some of those smaller schools in baseball that will go play a Division One, a bigger Division One's program. They might be Division Two or JUCO, and put some work on them, right? But in football, it wasn't that easy. But now, the way things are, the way the talent level is just so is getting more. NIL has helped that. Transfer portal has helped that out, right? Not having to have kids sit out, and you still have that issue where some coaches don't know what they don't know, and um, they may want to help, but they, like I said, I just had the blessing of helping two young men, like in a matter of days, get themselves scholarship opportunity at a D2 program. So we gotta, I gotta follow up with the coach to see what's going on with that, and but it's a good chance these other two young men that I helped recently will be able to further their career plan, at the next level in college. So we're gonna, got to get those things finalized for those two young men. But had a college coach from a D2 program reach out and said he's interested. So we'll, I'm gonna do my part to try to make sure that gets fulfilled, so these young men can go play and give themselves an opportunity to get their education paid for. But man, this March Madness is going to be something. I don't know. I mean, I'm all over the place with my brackets. Come on, guys. I want to talk with you all out there. If you got some comments, somebody got some ideas on who, I'm looking at my bracket now while I'm live for my women, because I'm thinking, man, South Carolina, LSU, who else? I ain't trying to autofill nothing. I want to put my own bracket. So UCLA guys, right? South Carolina, Indiana's always tough in women's, right? We got Georgia Tech and Ole Miss, of course, Alabama. Who else we got out there? Who you guys got? Maryland is tough. Maryland's men's and women's program is tough. Norfolk State, Norfolk State, men's and women's both won their conference championship to get into March Madness. So that's awesome. So we got Maryland going up against Norfolk State in the women's. Florida State going up against George Mason. North Carolina women are tough. Duke women are tough. Initially, I thought the Duke women, was struggling a little bit at the beginning of the year, but they pulled. That coach did a great job in pulling her girls together and winning the ACC conference championship. NC State is tough. Michigan State men and women are tough. They're both in, right? Both Texas men and women are in, but the Texas women are a top seed. The men were last in. But USC with Juju, right? Juju Watkins. Both Illinois men's and women's are in there. Both Creighton men's and women's in there. Same with Tennessee. But yeah, USC is going to be a beast. California going to be against Mississippi State. Both Kentucky and Liberty are in. Ohio State women, I know they were tough. Yeah, they made it. That's going to be an interesting game with Tennessee and South Florida women. I'm interested to see how that's going to end up. Iowa men struggle, but the women are back in it. Notre Dame is going to be tough with that guard, man. She's tough. I saw something on her the other day. So Notre Dame is going to be tough. Oklahoma men and women are in it. Both Louisville men and women are in it, and UConn men and women, of course. We'll see what Beckler will have for UConn. See how far they get. I'm not sure if UConn makes it that far. I'm not sure if they do. But I'm going with UConn right now against Arkansas State, against Ark State. And then I'm going to take Oklahoma State over South Dakota State. FGCU and Oklahoma, I'm going to go with Oklahoma. Of course, I'm going with Notre Dame out the gate, and I'm gonna go with Louisville, and I'm gonna go with TCU against Fairleigh Dickinson. All right, let me go back up. Let me scroll up. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Iowa. I'm gonna go with Iowa over Murray State, and I'm gonna go with Kentucky over Liberty, and Kansas State over Fairfield. On this bracket, I'm going with South Florida over Tennessee. I know it's a stretch. Tennessee is 5 against a 12 seed South Florida, but we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna take Ohio State, and both Michigan men's and women are in it too. So you see how it is. How I'm saying how chaotic some of this March Madness is, because you got both men's and women's teams, and they are good. It's not that they aren't good, but stuff can get kind of funky. Like both Illinois and Creighton people are in it. So I'm gonna go with Illinois women, and then I'm gonna go with Texas. And of course, I'm going with Juju. I'm going with Juju all the way to the Final Four or the Final Two possibly. I'm gonna go with SEC and take Mississippi. Remember how we used to have to learn that MISSISS IPPI, MISSISS IPPI. Y'all remember how we used to do that? The little cheer or whatever they used to do, or jump rope, something we used to do. But I'm gonna take the SEC over ACC with California for the women's on my bracket, and then I'm gonna take NC State women over Vermont. I'm gonna take Michigan State over Harvard. I'm gonna take LSU over San Diego State. I'm gonna take Carolina over Oregon State. Now Vanderbilt and Oregon, I'll take Vandy. And of course, I'm gonna take Duke. Y'all let me know who y'all taking. Put it in the chat what you got, who you got. I'm gonna take Florida State over George Mason. That's a 6 seed over 11 seed. I'm gonna take West Virginia over the winner of Columbia and Washington. It looks like. I'm gonna have to take Maryland over Norfolk State, and Alabama over Green Bay. I'm gonna take Baylor over Grand Canyon. Ole Miss over Ball State. All right. And then I'm gonna take now Richmond is an 8 seed. Richmond is an 8 seed with Georgia Tech is a 9 seed. That's a toss up right there. But I'm gonna stick with Richmond. I'm gonna go with Richmond. And then I'm gonna go with, of course, with UCLA. UCLA is probably gonna be in my top Final Four. And I'm gonna go eat. I see Utah's at 8 and Indiana's at 9, but I'm gonna go Indiana. I watched them girls last year. They were kind of tough. They were pretty tough. So that's what I'm looking at. Appreciate you hollering at me, KT. I see you. Appreciate you texting me, big dog, checking me out. Talking about this crazy, chaotic March Madness, man. Trying to get these brackets right, man. So y'all let me know who you got. Who do you have, right? Who do you got in this March Madness? This crazy bracket stuff that's going on. And I know I got several brackets. So hey, I'm gonna give to them. I'm gonna have several of them trying to figure out, trying to get that perfect bracket, right? Trying to get that perfect, scenario, that perfect bracket, man, to have some bragging rights, right? So now I'm gonna take UCLA. All right, I'm down to this round of 32. Okay, so I'm gonna take UCLA over Richmond, and I'm gonna take South Carolina over Indiana. Sorry, Indiana had to fall to that. Now Baylor and Ole Miss. I'm gonna go with Baylor over Ole Miss, and I'm gonna take, man, Alabama over Maryland. I'm just trying to think on that one, man. That one's tough. Even that Ole Miss Baylor one for the women, man, is tough. I know they tell you usually when you go when you're doing stuff, go with your first choice, right? That's what they say. Usually go with your first choice. Man, I don't see y'all put some stuff in the chat. That's my challenge to you all. Whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this the video recording on my YouTube channel. But like I said, I'm not going to give out all my social media platforms. Please go to my website, lovethegame247.com, and you can get to all my platforms on my website. I appreciate it. But man, y'all tell me who you have. I'm going over this bracket. I'm trying to let's talk about it. Who you got? Ole Miss and Baylor, man. I got Baylor. That's a tough one. And they're fourth seed or a fifth seed, and same thing with Alabama and Maryland, a 4 and a 5. I think this year, man, like I heard somebody discussing this earlier today. I think I was watching First Take and Jay Billis. I like listening to Jay Billis. I think he's a real one, and he's realistic, and he's gonna tell you like it is. Him and that crew that he's on with. So, but he was just mentioning, like, I don't think there's too many like like we would see upsets a lot. I'm not sure if it's gonna be too much of the upsets going on. I think there's some close. I mean, like, give you an example, like watching Florida, man. I watched Florida. I caught quite a few games the early part of the season. I kind of missed out during the middle of the season, but I kept my eyes on what they were doing. And then as the season was winding down, and those boys, man, they're unselfish. With the ball, there's times where I've seen guys give up shots and they'll pass it, right, for their teammate to get it. Might be just as open as they are, and they'll pass that ball, or just something. It seems like they are just gelling. They just know each other so well. They do, and it seems like they get along. I don't know, but at least that's what they show on the court. And I've seen them. They big men can run. Condon, all those guys. The transfer from Washington that the coach was recruiting out of high school, and his coach at Washington ended up taking another job. And so the coach at Florida just stayed on him and finally got him there at Florida. And he's been a huge help to him, man. So, but they're big guys, man. They run the court on offense and defense, man. They're physical. Like one of my homeboys said, they're basketball physical, and they're just so well disciplined and well coached and hungry. You can see it, and I see it in other teams like Tennessee. I've seen it in Tennessee, but man, when they met Florida, and when Alabama met Florida, they had, I can see their hope at the beginning, but as Florida just will wear you down. If they can just stay healthy, and keep that same resilience and focus and team play and unselfishness. I got Florida winning, man, on some. I mean, I like Auburn. Broome, he's from the crib, right? Broome is from the Tampa Bay area, Tampa Catholic. We play Tampa Catholic every year. When I coached high school ball back home in Florida, Tampa Catholic, that was our conference, our division, or whatever you want to call it. That was our, that's what we had to play. Regular season. And if you got in the playoffs, you had to see, they had to see us, or we had to see them at some point, so Broome, man, that just like Clayton went to Iona before coming to Florida, like, go figure. That's what I'm telling y'all, man. Iona, they would sneak up on you back in the day. They had some ballers come out of Iona. I'm not going to sit here and bull job you, but I remember when they finally got on the map with some good coaching, right? Good recruiting. That's why I said in some basketball, man, you can find baseball, in track, man, you can find some talent, man, and win some games, right? And that is just more prevalent now, like I said, with the transfer portal and NIL. So y'all tell me, man, who you got? Let's chalk it up. Put something in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. You say, "Oh, what you picking basketball, KT?" That's all right. Come on, doctor, get in this thing. Get in this thing, man. Tell me who you got. Let's Um, my camp, man, coming up on the 29th. But I'm gonna look at doing a flag football for girls, man. I got some things we'll be talking. We'll be meeting on Sunday, so I'm gonna talk to you about some stuff um, on what's happening. So, um, but yeah, man, let me go back over this bracket and finish up with these girls, man. So if you all need some help, let's talk about it. Get on with Coach Smith and let's get some of your brackets filled out. If you need some discussion on that, but you got to get it done before, like I said, what 11 or 12 tomorrow. You know, man, Florida State and LSU. Is LSU healthy enough? You know, I know Flage. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she's playing. There's something going on there. I'm not sure what's happened. What's up? Let me go to this on my vidIQ and see what kind of thumbnail they come up with for me to put on my video. But anyway, what about Florida? Is Florida State? Can they upset LSU? Is Flage? Another thing, man, you got to remember too with some of this stuff is, you know, experience, right? If you haven't been there before and you get in a certain situation, you may not know how to know what it takes to get your team over the top, And then again, man, you have some teams that'll surprise you, man, and just come out smacking you upside your head, and you might not think they don't know how to pull it off, how to pull out that win. And all of a sudden they pull that win out. And so what happened to my thing here? My vidIQ, why I did that. My March Madness. I don't know if it kept it or not. But yeah, let's talk about it, man. Figure out what your bracket's gonna look like, where you need to go. Let me see if it saved me. I'm on my vidIQ that helps me with stuff. Let me see if it kept my I think I'm gonna have to start it over. I don't know what happened, but I'm gonna have to go back. Anyway, but y'all share with what you got going on with your bracket. Share some of your thoughts. Put them in the chat. Put them in the chat. And like I said, Florida State. I think I'm gonna go with LSU. I think I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to go with that. Let me know. Let me just do something right quick. What in the world is going on? Okay, I won't mess with that right now. I'm gonna go with LSU. I'm gonna go with Carolina over West Virginia. I'm gonna do that. NC State and Michigan State. I'm gonna go with NC State. They're a 2 seed. Duke, of course, over Vandy. They're a 2 seed over 7 seed. I see that happening. And then I got USC. I'm going with my girl all the way, all day. Juju, that's my girl. Texas over Illinois. Okay. And I'm gonna go SEC, Kentucky over K-State. I know that's a 4 over 5. Hey, I picked, South Florida over Tennessee. They were a 5 seed, a 12 seed, beating a 5 seed. That's just me wishful thinking, hoping. But I don't think they're gonna get that far, because of some talent level and people being there who've been there and done that kind of stuff, and coaches who've been there and done that. I'm gonna take Oklahoma over Iowa. I'm gonna take, of course, my little guard over Notre Dame. I'm gonna take her over Michigan, and then I'm gonna take Louis. With TCU and Louisville. I'm gonna take TCU. That's a 2 over TCU, a 2 seed over 7 seed. I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take UConn, same with 2 seed over 7 seed. I'm gonna take UConn. And then I'm gonna take Notre Dame over TCU. You must be tough now. I mean, but you gotta sometimes you gotta think about how who people played too now. I mean, but sometimes these days it don't matter as much, man. Hey, this is my picture. I appreciate you joining me, brother. As always. We talking about this bracket, man. You got your bracket. I'm going over some of this bracket stuff. So, but man, TCU, I'm gonna go TCU over Notre Dame. I gotta do it. UConn and Oklahoma. I don't know if UConn got it like that still. So I'm gonna go Oklahoma over UConn, a 3 seed over a 2 seed. I just don't know if UConn has it like that anymore. But I'm going with my girl, like I said, Juju Watkins all day, every day over Kentucky. And I'm gonna go Texas over Ohio State in there. And then let me go back up and see. I'm gonna take UCLA over Baylor. I'm gonna take Maryland over Alabama, but I'm gonna take South Carolina over Maryland. And I'm gonna take UCLA over Baylor. Tell me who you got, y'all out there. Tell me what you got. NC State and LSU. I'm gonna take NC State. I don't know if LSU gonna make it all the way through. And I'm gonna take Duke over North Carolina. But can Duke beat them? I don't know how many times that Duke had to play them. But I'm gonna take Duke over Carolina. But then South Carolina and Duke and UCLA over NC State. I'm gonna take UCLA, man. UCLA is tough, man. They got some size. They get them girls ready. I watched them, man. They got some talent over there, man. They ain't sleeping on nobody, And you better not sleep on UCLA because they will whomp you. And I just think South Carolina, man, with Dawn, man, those girls, she's been there. She knows what she's doing. All right, so I got South Carolina over Duke, okay? And then I'm gonna have Juju over Oklahoma, USC, and Texas over TCU to make up. So my final four for my first women's bracket, I got UCLA meeting up with USC, and I think I'm gonna give this to USC this time. I don't think Juju lost to them in the conference championship. They, USC won it last year. I thought they were going to repeat, but I knew UCLA was going to give them a game, but I don't think UCLA will beat them again because Juju a beast, and that team is good. They're well coached. And I'm going to take South Carolina over Texas. Boy, I got all the 1 seeds in the Final Four for the women in my first bracket. Dang, should I take? No, I'm going with South Carolina. I ain't sweating. I'm going with South Carolina. But I think USC, I don't know. Can Juju, I'm going to go with the upset with USC over South Carolina. Y'all call me crazy. Tiebreaker, how many points would be scored in the championship game overall? I'll give it a 166. I think 80-some points could be scored in this game between those two teams. So that's my bracket. That's my first bracket, y'all, with the women's March Madness. That's my first one with them. Let me finish up putting this in for all these prizes or whatever that they have out here to win potentially for doing your bracket. And let me put my address and stuff in here that they're asking for, which hey, I'm cool with these particular folks. I ain't cool with certain things, but I'll do it with this. But yeah, my favorite team, it's a toss up between South Carolina and USC with Juju, man. But I'm gonna have to stick with South Carolina. That's where my wife is from. So I'm gonna have to go with South Kakalaki. That's what they call it. North Kakalaki, South Kakalaki. That's what we call it. So I'm gonna have to go with what I know. Um, so it's it's gonna be interesting to see how this thing end up. So I'm gonna create another bracket, but I'll come back to it. This is the ESPN men's and women's tournament challenge. So yeah, I ain't hear, I heard from my one homeboy, KT, Dr. KT. Let me put my and when I say doctor, that's because he's a doctor. And I'm proud to say it. Let me just put my website on there on YouTube and Facebook and on IG, because that's what I'm on right now. Register now at lovethegame247.com if you fancy, right? If you got what it takes, right? If you're a young athlete, male or female, and you got what it takes, and you want to come to this, for you young boys, you want to come to this camp. Hey, if I had a young girl pop up, you welcome. You ain't gonna get turned away. We'll get you right. We will get you right, Coach Smith. Man, I'm trying to make sure you guys fulfill your dream, possibility to playing college sports at the next level, right? Nothing like it, y'all. Nothing like it, man. It's one of the greatest things I think that someone can do. Just going to college, period, whether you're an athlete or not. Just be having the blessing and opportunity to go to college. But man, when you can get blessed and find a way to get it paid for because of your gifts and talents, that your God-given gifts and talents and abilities, that's what you're supposed to use them for. Stuff like that. You're supposed to use it for that. You're supposed to use your gifts and talent for that. So let me put my register now. It's gonna pop up because I've done it so many times. It remembers, of course. Get in on it. Get in on it with Coach Smith, your favorite coach, right? Put in the chat, y'all. Come on, let's get your brackets, your March Madness. Get into the chaos of trying to figure out who's gonna do what. I'm gonna be going live on my TikTok after I get off here in a little bit, and you can feel free to come to Love the Game 24/7 over there as well. So let me go through this men's right quick before I get off, and sharing some of my knowledge on what I think is gonna happen. So Auburn and Alabama State, of course, I got Auburn. I got Louis and Creighton. That's an 8-9 seed. Louisville, Creighton. Creighton struggled. They end up losing their conference championship. So they're on the down. They're on the down end, right? They're on the down end. I know Louisville got beat too, but they played tough and made something out of it. But I'm gonna go with Louisville over Creighton on the men's bracket. I got Duke winning their first. Baylor and Mississippi State. MISSISSIPPI. That's how we used to get that rhythm and rhyme and remember how to spell certain words. Used to try to say how fast you can say it. But man, Mississippi State and Baylor, man, the SEC was just off the chain. So I'm gonna have to go SEC, especially in the men's. SEC was just off the chain, man. Straight balling. 14 teams just straight balling this year. I got Michigan over their 12 seed. Like I said, I don't think it's gonna be too many of this like what Jay Billa said on the show today on First Take. You don't see a whole lot of like major upset stuff going on. Oregon over and Liberty. So Oregon's a 5 seed over 12. I'll go with Oregon. Oregon's tough. Oregon's usually tough too. So Texas A&M over Yale. Yeah, Yale had some magic, but Texas A&M is, they're tough. Hey, but I told y'all, my Seahawks, UNCW. We're in it. We're in the madness. So we play Thursday. Yeah, we play Thursday against Texas Tech. That's gonna be tough. Texas Tech been balling. But I got A&M over Yale on my men's bracket. I got Arizona over Akron. VCU, BYU. I know Billa said he see BYU doing some things possibly. So I'm gonna go with BYU over VCU. I'm gonna go Ole Miss over North Carolina, even though North Carolina played well, but they ain't gonna. I don't think they're gonna bring it to Ole Miss like that. And then I got Iowa State over Lipscomb, and I got Wisconsin. Beautiful place. They were one of the first people that offered my son in football. Coach Arianda. I can't. His name is kind of hard. I know he's the head coach at Baylor right now, but he was the D coordinator at Wisconsin that gave my son his first offer, even though it wasn't at quarterback, it was as a DB. And he's awesome. It was just awesome to sit down and talk with him, man. The man knows his football. Coach Arianda, I think is how they pronounce it. But I mean, if I had another, I wish I had another kid come out of my youngest son decided he didn't want to play anymore, but he was a better baseball player anyway. He could play football, but he was a better baseball player. But he hung his cleats up early. But boy, if I had another one, tried to get my baby to give me about 3 or 4, but that sister was like, no. After that first one, it was hard. But let's get back on this thing, man. On this bracket, Marquette in New Mexico. I mean, I got Marquette. And Michigan State, man, just surprised me. Man, Tom Izzo always pulls somebody's hat, man, a little bit. He always his boys, they play hard for him. And so they look good at how they finished up the year and won their conference championship. I was surprised they had won 27 or 28 games, I think, before the regular season or whatever the case. But yeah, they look pretty good in there in the Big 10, Big 12, whatever they call it. And then of course I got Alabama. I got Bama. All right, KT, I got your Bamas. I got your Roll Tide over Robert Morris. But the home team, them Gators dealt with them the other day. They thought they had something going, but them Gators broke that down. St. Mary's and Vandy. St. Mary's has been balling a little bit too. They've been I don't know if they're not gonna get past Alabama though. They ain't gonna get past the Tide. Florida and Norfolk State. Of course, I got Florida, UConn, and Oklahoma, man. Man, UConn and Oklahoma, man, SEC. I'm gonna go Oklahoma. I'm gonna go Oklahoma on that. UConn just didn't meet expectations like we thought they would this year. I mean, they still a strong team now. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't ball like what we see now with Tennessee and Auburn and SEC. Man was just lit. I got Houston winning their first round. Who is this school? I'm trying to see the name of this school. What's the name of this school? SIE Cougars. I don't even know the name of the school. SIUE Cougars. SIU Edwardsville. So maybe is it Southern Illinois University or something? I'm not sure what it is. Southern Illinois. I don't know. But I got Houston over them. And the former coach at Florida is at Georgia, going against Gonzaga. I'm gonna go with the Zags. With the Zaga. I got Clemson over McNeese. And I got Memphis. I got my boy. Little Penny. I got Little Penny. Memphis. They've been balling. They've been holding tight. I got Maryland over Grand Canyon. All right. But I got Memphis over Colorado State, Maryland over Grand Canyon, Clemson over McNeese, Purdue over High Point. Hey, I appreciate y'all joining me. This is just Coach Smith, man, going over this chaotic March Madness, right? I just want to get on this bracket. It's bracket time. Hey, put in the chat who you got. I just went over the ladies bracket. right? I had all the number one seeds for the women's bracket to meet up in the final four, right? But I had who did I have? Let me see. Who did I pick to win that? I have to go back. I'll go back. Well, I know I had all the, like I said, all the top seeds in the women's bracket. You know, South Carolina, UCLA, USC, and I forget who the other one was, but I had USC in South Carolina in it, and but I had Juju pulling it out. So let me finish this men's. Let me go down the line some more. Y'all let me know in the chat, man, who you got. Missouri over Drake. Drake kind of finished flat this year. Texas Tech over UNC Wilmington. I'm gonna call that upset just cause that's my school. Right. That's where I know I see those young men quite often. Some good young men for them Seahawks. So what just hit me up? But yeah, so oh man, hold on one second. I gotta get plugged back in. 1 second, y'all. I gotta get my laptop squared away. 1 second. All right, I'm back around. I don't want my laptop. I didn't have it plugged up for a while. So yeah, my Seahawks. I got Illinois over Texas or whoever, or Xavier, whoever wins that one. I think that's tonight. That game is tonight. Or was it yesterday? It might have been yesterday. I'm not sure. So whoever wins out of that got to play Illinois, but I got Illinois. Then I got Kentucky over Troy. Right, Kentucky over Troy. And then Kansas and Arkansas. I know the SEC is tough. Kansas, looked like they were going to, potentially have something, but they didn't. But I think I'm gonna go SEC over. I'm gonna go Arkansas over Kansas. Now St. John's and Omaha back in my day, Nebraska, Omaha. I think that might be the same school. I think they just call it Omaha now. I know that years ago, after we graduated, they got rid of their football program and just stuck with the other sports. I don't know why, but they had decent football talent. They would get a lot of guys from Nebraska at Lincoln, the big Nebraska at Lincoln. Guys who couldn't make it over there would transfer to Omaha, Nebraska, Omaha. But I got them getting knocked off by St. John's. I got Tennessee over Wofford. And I have UCLA over Utah State. All right. And so then Tennessee and UCLA are meeting up. So I'll go with Tennessee because the SEC man just balling. I'll take St. John's over Arkansas. St. John's has been balling. That's Rick Pitino, right? And I'm about to get knocked off over my time. So let me finish this up because the second's about to run down. I got Kentucky over Illinois, Missouri over UNC Wilmington. Of course, I'm gonna have Florida all the way down. I'm gonna try to pop back on. All right. All right, I'm back. My hour had run up, my first hour. So I'm back live on IG. I'm still live on YouTube and Facebook. So like I said, put something in the chat. Y'all share with me who you got. That's my call to action to you all on YouTube, my YouTube live or video, in my Facebook live or video. So tell me who you got. Let me finish up my bracket for the men's. Oh, that's the women. I clicked on the wrong one. So yeah, I'm back, y'all. I'm back. Coach Smith back. I had to get kicked off and they put me in. I had to get back on. So I appreciate you joining me on IG. Had a lacrosse game. That's why you see Coach in his referee shirt. Had a lacrosse game today. My first JV lacrosse game went pretty good. I'm still learning that game though. Still learning some stuff. So I'm going over. Like I said, I had UNC Wilmington, my school, getting taken out by Missouri. I got Kentucky over Illinois, and then I have Clemson and Purdue. Clemson's been playing pretty decent, but I'm gonna go Purdue over Clemson, and I'm gonna go Maryland over Memphis. I'm gonna go Maryland over Memphis. Of course, I'm gonna go Florida over Oklahoma, and Houston over Gonzaga. Right? Y'all tell me who you got on IG and YouTube and Facebook. Who you got? I got Florida over Maryland, and I got Houston over Purdue. Right? It's gonna be my Elite Eight. I got Tennessee over Kentucky. I take Tennessee over Kentucky. I'll take Missouri over St. John's. And then I have Florida. That's my sweet. That's my Elite Eight. Florida, Missouri, Houston, Tennessee. Oh, I have to go up here and get my other ones. I forgot. I got Auburn. Hey, I appreciate y'all joining Coach Smith. Just talking about all the chaos with the bracket. I shared a story about, the West Virginia governor or mayor suing the NCAA, which he called the National Corrupt Athletic Association, because they got snubbed by being chosen, getting chosen over by North Carolina. Beat them out to get into the tournament, and they had a much better season than North Carolina. But North Carolina gonna put butts in the seat compared to North Carolina, so we know what that means. But let me get back to this. Auburn over Louisville. I got Duke over Mississippi State. I got Arizona over Oregon. I got Texas A&M over Michigan. Michigan, they play tough. Tom Izzo even got his Michigan State fellas in there, but they're not going to go far. I got Iowa State and Ole Miss. Wisconsin and BYU. I got Wisconsin over BYU. I'm gonna take Ole Miss over Iowa State, a 6 seed over a 3 seed. I'm gonna take Michigan State. I'm gonna take Alabama over St. Mary's. I'm gonna take Auburn over A&M and Duke over Arizona. I'm gonna take Ole Miss over Michigan State. But I don't know now, Tom Izzo. What y'all think? Tom Izzo, can he lose to a SEC 6 seed team? Well, I will take Alabama over Wisconsin. So that would be Duke and Alabama in the Elite Eight. And should I take Auburn over Ole Miss or Auburn over Michigan State? And Michigan State is a 2 seed. But sometimes the SEC, man, I'm gonna take Ole Miss. I'm gonna leave it with that. But of course, I'm gonna take Auburn beating Ole Miss, and I'm gonna take Duke beating Alabama in the Elite Eight. And then I'm gonna take Florida beating Missouri, and I'm gonna take Tennessee, a 2 seed, beating the number 1 Houston, a number 1 seed in Houston. So my final 4 on this bracket for the ESPN bracket is Auburn against Florida and Duke against Tennessee. Man, y'all tell me who y'all think how I should go, how I should swing that. Put something in the chat. Tell me how y'all think I should swing that if y'all on here live. Definitely, I'll check the comments out tomorrow. So if you don't watch this tonight, but you watch it later tonight or tomorrow sometime or whatever, But part of my other discussion on the chaos with March Madness is Texas State. I saw an interview with the head coach with Texas State. Had a great year. I think they won 27, 28 games and they got snubbed. Go figure, man, how they figure this stuff out. I mean, I know they have their analytics. Like I said earlier on the show, um, this March Madness is more chaotic than ever because of the money, right? The money implications, okay? And who's gonna put more butts in the seat? So if you got a team that has a history of doing well in the tourney, you're not gonna probably get this. You're probably gonna get snubbed if you're a team that hasn't been used to being in a tournament, unless your team is just outright. Now Texas State they lost. I think they went out early in their conference championship, but they won the regular season championship. So that's what just bothered the coach, because she took that program from pretty much being not much to being on the national stage. Now we're not as familiar with Texas State, right? But we're talking women's basketball. Kind of everybody. I mean, I know South Carolina, LSU. There's certain teams, Indiana, Duke, North Carolina, of course, UConn. UConn is the biggest name on women's in South Carolina with Don Staley, of course, right? Then you always have USC in there, and UCLA is always tough. They're the normal names that you hear, right? So, the Texas State coach, women's coach, she was just a little, she understands it, but like she said, she don't have to like it because she understands it. And she can still feel they got snubbed, and they probably did. I don't disagree with it. When you win 27, 28 games and you win your conference championship, and what she was saying, they shouldn't just put it on the conference tournament championship. Okay, that's what her point was. Like they at least they did win a championship in their conference. You play everybody at least twice in your conference. For the most part, depending on how big your conference is, you're going to play each other at least twice. Okay, and they won their conference outright, but they went out early in their conference tournament championship. So you're gonna penalize the girls who work so hard to make that program successful and win 27, 28 games, and you snub them and they don't get the opportunity. And some of these girls are going to be graduating. So that's which I understand. That's her part, and that's the risk with the way the things are, man. That's what happens. And, and it hurts, because these girls deserve they're part of history and turning that program around, those ones who stuck it out and didn't transfer and stayed in there with her at Texas State. So, I understand that frustration, man. It's tough. I can empathize, man, because I felt like we got snubbed my senior year from going into the Division II playoffs. They didn't want to put another North Central Conference team flooded in the playoffs. We already had 4 teams. We always sent 4 teams, right? We always sent 4 teams to the national playoffs, and so our record was good enough to where we should have gotten the nod, because our wins and losses in North Dakota State was #1 in the nation, and we almost beat them to get ourselves back in the ranking. So, but hey, it is what it is, man. You just feel bad. So that's it, guys. I appreciate you joining me on Facebook and YouTube. So all the best to you on that. I know I didn't give you all my final. Oh, yes, I did. I gave you my final 4, but I'm gonna go with Florida beating Auburn in the men's bracket that I just did, and I'm gonna go with Tennessee beating Duke, and I'm gonna go with Florida winning. I think if Florida can just keep doing what they're doing, right? In the overall point total, I mean, Florida can put up 100 points, man, on anybody, pretty much. So I'll give it 179. I'll go with that. I'm gonna make another men's and women's bracket. I'll change it up a little bit. But hey, I appreciate you guys joining Coach Smith and Love the Game 24/7. Okay, like I said, you can get all my social media platforms and get in contact with me on my website. So please go out to my website. I wish you all the best on your March Madness brackets that you put together. Hey, do some multiple ones, man, and hey, let's share. We'll be on live. I'll be on live as this thing winds down. We'll be talking about it more. Okay, that's what we'll be talking about. And I'm getting ready for some flag football and 7-on-7 this weekend, a whole lot of stuff, and possibly some more lacrosse stuff on the weekend. But I'm getting um, my feet wet in this lacrosse and learning this, so I'm excited about that. So hey, look, be ready to join the show, man. When Coach go live to talk about this March Madness chaos being more chaotic than ever, right? So be sure to join the show. Appreciate y'all joining tonight. All love, and I'll talk to y'all. I'm gonna get ready to go live on my TikTok for a bit. Okay, now, y'all take care. Peace.